When I see women with really successful men in their life, or they have a successful relationship, I'm like, she either did a lot of work on herself for her to be able to receive this type of relationship, or now she feels super safe with the masculine to invite someone in who's at her level. And so every time that I'm dating these guys, I'm realizing, nope, not you. Next, we'll raise my standards. And so now this is a process.
So when you say, nope, not you, what are they doing? What is the offense?
So
it's not like a...
So there's several things. Let's say, if a man doesn't wait for me to drive away and get in my car, he's a done. That's for me. I'm like,
and so that's the mark. You don't feel like you would need to tell him, hey.
Not for that one. No, I feel like a man should know that one.
Okay. But what if he wasn't raised by
a
mom that doesn't have manners?
All right.
But if you just said, hey, you know what, this would make me feel like you thought enough of me to love and care and protect me, and he was like, oh, and then I can provide that. I can provide what you need and want.
You're right. I will give you that. I'm giving you an example.
Okay, give me another one.
Okay. So
and I'm not defending him. I'm just asking
This is so good for me because it's making me go, maybe you didn't see it that way.
Because you can create men too.
Okay, someone who hasn't got his vision all clearly set out. I feel like he's got. I was more interested in his potential as opposed to what he was actually doing with himself, and I feel like
that's now.
Yeah, well, this was just a little bit ago, another guy, and so because he was restarting a business, and which was great, but his focus. It seemed like I was more focused than he was, and so I want a man to also be a leader and kind of have this drive where we could feed off of each other with that, and I just didn't know how long that was going to really rev up for this person because it seemed like other things were more important as opposed to his vision work, Yeah.
This is just hypothetical because this is fun for me.
Yeah.
If you found this guy who was totally ethical.
This one wasn't.
Okay, well, he's out. But we're playing pretend.
Yeah.
He's totally ethical. He shares your core values. But he doesn't have the same strengths as you do. But he was like, I'm all in on the women empowerment mission and I support you so much. And in the relationship, I'm going to handle all of this behind the scenes stuff for you, with you, so that we can focus on you to build you up into this mega superstar, whatever you're making. Let's call it 5 million, 10 million, 2 million, whatever. And let's say you haven't been able to pass that surface. Do you have a cap?
No.
Is there what's the number you haven't exceeded past?
20 million. So,
good.
Okay.
Let's say you're like, okay, I haven't, but now the guy comes along. He's not the one, but he's like, look, I'm going to do all of this. This is the vision, because he's got the vision.
Yes, I'm going to say yes right now.
Yeah. And if he was like, if I do this, but you're going to go to 30, 40, 50 million, you don't need him to be the driver. You get to be the star, but then you, quote unquote, have all the money.
This sounds so great. I'd like that. Where do we find this?
Really?
I mean, that would be good.
Really? You don't think you would be judgmental?
Of course I would. I would probably emasculate him probably a little bit because I'd be like, what's your thing? Maybe. I don't know. It sounds great, but I mean, yeah, I want a man who's going to also bring something too, I guess.
Like he's got to make money.
I mean, I would love that.
Yeah, I'm not knocking that.
I mean, but it sounds great what you just said.
Right.
I mean, but
I've seen that work, but it's
I think I would not have the same respect for a man if he wasn't doing the same.
Yeah, but if he was working in the empire.
Yeah, if he was working in
let's say he was a
Stedman or something.
Yeah, but even I don't.
Does he work?
Even more
I
so, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know that.
Yeah,
but you know what I mean, like a pillar. Let's call him. He was like the vice president of Shamina Enterprises.
I like that.
And he was like protecting you from, he was the gatekeeper. He was like, this is what you're doing. Not telling you what to do, but like I'm saying business wise, you're going on this show, you're doing this, we're going here, you're going to do this. You know what I'm saying? Like this funnel here, we're going to get you licensees, we're going to da-da-da-da. You're doing it all, but he's like plotting and planning, that's working. But
maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Okay.
Yeah, actually.
Right, okay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you?
Pre-Grant, I was always the one that made all the money.
Yeah, you said that. I remember that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
And I made all the money, but I had the attitude back then of I don't need a man for anything.
Oh, yeah.
And I also had the assumption that all men hold me back and all men cheat. So guess what?
Whoa.
All of them did that prior to Grant. And I think, talk about not being a victim, when I really had to do some introversion and look at things, I was like, how am I creating this situation? Otherwise, I'm a victim and I can't stop it.
Yeah.
But if I can look at how I'm creating the situation, I started looking at, well, if I give off the attitude, I don't need you for anything, who wants to be with that girl?
Yeah.
You don't need me for anything? Oh, I'm going to go be with the girl who makes me feel like I'm needed. Because who doesn't want to feel needed? Why are you in a relationship if you're not needed?
Yeah.
Why are you in a relationship if I'm going to run off and go do whatever I want to do with or without you because I am a strong, powerful woman? Hear me roar.
So how'd you move through those things? Like, just out of curiosity for me, like, you know,
Okay.
so the cheating thing. So obviously there was a record, there's a track record.
Never been with a guy who hadn't cheated.
Oh shit. Okay.
But I also never wanted to be in relationships.
So you picked emotionally unavailable men, or or men who weren't available. Like, what was the?
One was a crystal meth addict.
Oh.
Which I didn't know.
Okay.
Which is crazy because I grew up in the drug world. That's how blind I went to love. And one just didn't make enough money, and you know, he was my answer to the really bad world, and he was kind of like. So anyway.
But curious though, after you got through them, like what happened?
So this is what I did. Yeah. And it was the hardest thing. It was kind of like what I was asking you about the money. When did you take the leap?
Oh, okay.
So for me, what I did was I looked at, wow, I could actually be casting these guys to fulfill my rightness about how wrong they are. You understand? So whatever you have is what I'm saying, whatever your considerations are about men, if you really want a man, right? Yeah. And then you got to think, do they cheat? You know, I can't find them. They're hard to find. They all mess up. Like whatever you got going on, you got to look at that and then figure out how to do the opposite of it. So I looked at, okay, all men hold me back. Obviously, that's not true.
No,
There's
right.
8 billion people on planet. All men, you know, cheat. Obviously, that's not true either. So I just kind of looked at the logic of that. And then I started saying, okay, well, can I be open to the possibility? And at the time, it sounded like a big fat no, but I just told myself, can I just be open to the possibility that a man can lift me up?
Ooh, I feel that
and be faithful?
Ooh.
And can a man help me reach heightened levels of success? Because before that, I always had that they hold me down.
Yeah.
Can that be possible? Can I be open to that possibility? And I always say, that's not real. That's not real. And I was like, Elena, 8 billion people, 7 billion people on planet Earth. I think I was saying 7 billion back then, 20 years ago. And I was like, 7 billion people on planet. Can you just be open to the possibility? Yes, I can be open to the possibility. And so then what I did was I made a list of everything that I wanted in a man. And because I never wanted to be in serious relationships. I never wanted to be married. I never thought I wanted to have kids because of that sitting there, like they're holding me back. Like, you know, who wants that? Like, I can't be with a guy like forever. Like that, how boring is that anyway? Right. I had all these ideas about that. And so when I wrote that down, I said, well, if this guy actually existed, I wrote over 100 items on the list. If this guy actually existed, could I be with one man for the rest of my life? And I looked at it and I was like, well, if he's all of that, then yeah, because what else would I need? Like.